Hello, hello, and welcome back to the road to top 100. I don't know where we are now. We're probably around the 400 range because it's going to take a billion years for us to stay or to increase our ELO since we have about, I don't know, probably 60 games under our belt now. Most of which were played long before even starting this challenge, but thus here we are. So next up in our challenge, we've auto-rolled Belakor and the Warriors of Chaos. We actually rolled Legions of Chaos, but unfortunately, you can't play those in ranked, so we're stuck with the good old Warriors. So for us, we've taken a bunch of Marauders and Marauders with great weapons. I brought the Soul of Damnation. Figured I'd see how it performs here. It's a pretty nice map for its arcing fire, so we're just gonna kind of park it back here and see what we can do with it. Belakor costs over 3,000 gold, so hopefully he can get some value here. And then we've got a bunch of Marauder Horsemen. I always like to take the throwing axes because they have better AP damage, and they're only losing out on reload speed by about 1 second. So I think overall their kind of damage to reload speed ratio is a little bit better than the base ones for an extra 50 gold. Is it only 50 gold? I can't remember. I think I also do have, I've also got a Horsemaster here. And these guys are just to kind of crump in melee since they do have an extra 4 melee stat and an extra 4 weapon strength with a bit of a better charge bonus. My opponent is literally just going as wide as he possibly can. We've got some cannons, a shitload of Quarrelers. Are these all just Quarrelers? Quarreler. And a ton of Miners, some Dwarf Warriors. We've got great weapon Longbeards. Interesting pick. And then we've got, of course, the Dragonfire Pass Warriors. The ROR here. These guys are fucking cool. They're like on fire. It's their like special thing. Oh, they actually literally... Okay, light things on fire. It seems like that'd be a really good pick in Undead. So early on in the game, we basically just came around the wide flank here. Didn't even notice that they had summoned in a bunch of Rangers here, and then we just parked up, kind of pretending like we're going to go to the middle. My opponent was really kind of defensive here. You can see they've set up kind of this choke points defense. So Belakor's just kind of wasting some ammunition, and the Hellfire Cannon is getting as much value as it can. I'm up 2-1 on cap points, so basically just kind of picking away at my opponent's value and trying to get... trying to basically force them to push at me. I am a very reactive player. You'll notice that whenever I try to take the initiative in a battle, I just instantly lose because I kind of just like throw everything at my opponent like a wet noodle. But when I force my opponent to play reactively, it really works out in my favor. So yeah. First half of this battle is really just a bunch of chilling. I'm really trying to avoid the cannons back here. They're not going to gain any value whatsoever with the way that we've positioned our forces, at least based on where their cannon is set up. I guess I could have maybe brought him up here and started shooting over here. You can see now that it took me about a minute to realize, like, these guys had to crumble completely before I even realized I was being shot at, because I was busy watching my Hellfire Cannon just decimate some Longbeards and some Dragonfire Pass Warriors. But you can see that we've basically put our guys on the ground here, just so they're not getting shots. And Belakor's sitting just outside of range. I was being a little bit cheeky. He basically took off his auto fire after he saw me start to kind of juke his cannons. Turns out they are quite easy to juke with a single entity flying unit, even one as large as Belakor. So you can see that with all the value that they're kind of committing on this side, it's pretty obvious that this is their go-to, right? So we've summoned in a bunch of Hellstriders, and we're just going to tie up their ranged units. Belakor wants to come over, and he wants to get as much value as he can on his Lord of Torment ability and his Blade of Shadow. So we're increasing melee attack and armor-piercing weapon damage as he's killing models, and as he's hanging out with things that are routing or wavering, you can see another cheeky bit of shades here. I mean, honestly, like, even with the nerfs of Bit of Shades, still just an absolutely devastating ability of free cast. But obviously we want to kind of get him into combat here, because these units are going to route really easily, right? A bunch of Rangers. And actually the Bugmans, quite strong actually. They're pretty good units. Wow, fucking mind-blowing that Hellstriders also have poison damage in addition to their Mark of Slaanesh and stuff. But in any case, you can see Belakor is now healing. And let's see, where's our effect intensity up to now? Can I click you? So you can see that we're now up to 0.08, and we'll max out it throughout this battle, I believe. Again, he's really just playing hyper defensively. I think he's kind of praying that I push him, but I'm really not going to touch that castle. I obviously don't have the resources to deal with it. And I think if he had committed these forces a lot sooner, he'd probably have this point by now, actually, because I don't really have the funds. I have 900 funds, and I'm trying to commit as much as I can to basically completely route his what he's brought in on this side. So you can see he's brought in a bunch of Slayers, including the Dragonbacks, which are quite scary for Belakor. You can see he's trying to maybe see if he can get the bit of combat with Belakor, but I'm basically screeding with Hellstriders and a bunch of Hounds here. And then we're going to get Belakor out of there, because he's just going to die pretty damn quick. Manticore summon. This is my second Manticore. Or no, I brought the Manticore from the right side over to the left, just to kind of harass the ranged units. Meanwhile, our Marauders are just throwing spears at the Slayers. These guys aren't shielded, obviously, and so we're just trying to kill as many of them as we can. I probably should have been a little bit more conservative with these units, let them kind of back off so that the Marauders could just keep throwing javelins, because I think I'm just giving up value here for free, essentially. You can see Belakor just really trying to ride that Lord of Torment. Blade of Shadow is moving up as well, which is great to see. And now my opponent is like, well, fuck, this failed. I need to do something with my 2,000, 3,000 value of units in the middle. And so you can see that we're moving our forces into a position to kind of counter this. Essentially, because this is a choke point, I'm just throwing one unit of Marauders in here to deal with that. He's got Ekron Miners with blasting charges. Probably not the best idea to throw my great weapons in here. I'm pretty sure they're about to just get decimated. Let's find out. Yeah. Good night. Sweet Prince. But we're going to jump in there anyways with the great weapons and the Marauders and just try and hold them up. And probably get blasted again by more blasting charges here. I honestly thought this was a Quarters unit. We are going to bring the Manticore in to try and shut down this Miners unit. Oh dear God. No wonder these guys routed so fast. I was wondering how they got messed up so quick. Belakor, now that we've basically consolidated our lead on this point, we have Chaos, 2 units of Chaos Warriors coming in here. I don't care who you are, Ungrim, you're not going to be killing either of these units, and these Slayers are just getting picked apart by my Marauder Horsemen, so this point is very much ours regardless. I should have done a better job with my micro here. You can see we're just letting these Bugman's Rangers obliterate our units, which is great, and Belakor is coming back over the other side to kind of help deal with this. So again, you can see that they've now routed us off of the choke point, and they're going to start moving forward. Now, really, these forces should have moved up. These forces should have been defending the middle. You can see that I essentially put myself in a position to cap this back. And we've got... I brought in some Hell Scourges, actually. I know people don't generally run them, but I really like them as essentially a screen. 700 gold screen, I know, but they're very hard to kill. They're very hard to route. You can see that we have the balance of power here, and as he's moving his stuff up, I think we're going to push these Hell Scourges up. We should have, if we did not. I think we might just be trying to route the Longbeards before we finish them off. Now I have 2 Manticores coming in. I probably should have waited for Pit of Shades to finish, because now I'm just giving them free value. Actually, that's really doing a whole lot to... Damn, Manticores are tough. And we're just trying to kind of keep their range units off our back. Now our cheeky friend here is trying to push his units into our victory point. The irony being that now that we've routed this unit off, and we're accruing so much value here, like, Jesus Christ. So this guy's already paid for himself, and we're only halfway through the battle. Yes, so we've routed the Longbeards with the spears, and now we're bringing the Hell Scourges in to just kind of hold up the warriors. I think we probably could have gotten a better charge, where it's less likely that they get more models on the center point, but that's quite alright. Ungrim never dies. I mean, I said this guy wouldn't kill these units, and he won't, but holy fuck, 6 hours later, and he's still going to be fighting them. Meanwhile, we've got Belakor just constantly routing, man. This guy is a fucking menace. Between his demonic terror and, what is this, Whispers in the Darkness. So, not only does he have terror, but he also has a -8 leadership modifier and removes immune to psychology. So any of these units that aren't scared of him just get fucked, which is just absolutely wild. You can see they've rotted off our Manticore now. I think I brought the other one over here. Yeah, because this was kind of a losing battle. There's no way that I, like, you know, 2 Manticores into a castle is just kind of a poor trade for me. Unfortunately, I kind of missed this one. But we did have enough time to bring the other Manticore over to kind of finish off some of these routing units. So this point is still solidly in our favor. They're going to finally take back this center location, and that's absolutely fine. I don't mind throwing away these Hell Scourges because they last a really long time. Their leadership's all right, their defensive stats are all right, and I mean, they're just doing absolute work. They're tying up, what is this, like, you know, 1,600 gold worth of models here, just to give us more time on our victory locations. And as you can see, they're going to need a triple cap here, right? We only need 400 points to finish. They're going to need 1,100, so they would actually need to triple cap for quite a long time to win this at all. But now that we've kind of messed up their offensive on this side, Belakor's going to come back, and we're going to try and finish off Ungrim, because fuck that guy. You can see that they're still trying to... man, they really... I think if there was a consolidated effort here, a consolidated push on one flank, rather than just kind of throwing units in as the accrued value for them, I think they could have done a lot better work. You can see I'm just not really dodging at all here. I did pop Shadow Shroud just to kind of mitigate some of the damage. I was just getting lazy at this point. I didn't even bother with juking. And I was trying to kind of micro over here to see what was going to work best. So you can see that we've got Hellstriders kind of holding up a couple of their units here. These Bugman's Rangers, man, they're actually like very impressive. 39 melee defense, they just never die. 25 melee attack, nothing to scoff at. But yeah. And what is this? Liquid Fortification. These guys heal? Okay, that's really quite interesting. I had no idea that these guys had a passive replenishment. That seems really strong to me for a unit with really high defense and a large model count. But you know, what do I know? Again, Soul of Damnation still just laughing all the way to the bank while they delete these units in the center. They're going to make another consolidated push towards my right flank. I'm not really too worried about it. You can see I'm accruing value here to kind of decide where I want to make my final stand, and it's probably going to be on the left here. Because once Ungrim goes, all of these units are going to mass routes, especially with Belakor walking up to just ruin their day. Okay. Ah, I see. So the melee damage stays, but unfortunately Lord of Torment reduces back to 0 when not in combat, interestingly enough. Not entirely ideal. Probably the reason why I was a little curious why his health bar hadn't filled up, but you know, you live and you learn. So we're going to bring in a bunch of Poison Dogs, and we've got more Hell Scourges. Again, literally all we're doing is just tying these guys up. The Halberds are going to come over, completely chunk through the 80 armor of these poor miners, and with their 31 melee attack and 43 melee defense, we're just going to be laughing at them. I fucking hate when people don't wear helmets. You know, you got 80 armor and you're just going to mitigate it by not wearing an helmet. If you're one of those Space Marine fans that likes when people don't wear helmets, you're a terrible person. You should feel bad. That's my hot take for the day. Anyways, back to the battle. We're just completely memeing at this point. We want to shut down the range because you can see that they have so many Quarrelers, so many Rangers. They've invested so much ranged firepower here that they've deleted me off this point essentially. I think we had some Chaos Warriors. No, these are all Marauders. Okay, our Chaos Warriors still fighting strong. Obviously, they're not going to accrue as much value unless they can probably get some pot shots with these Rangers, but they're going to be line of sighted with the Quarrelers. Not to mention that we're kind of keeping them occupied. The Manticore, just a total Chad. Terror Routes comes back in, and he's just going to be eating some Rangers for dinner. We brought the Hellstriders in just to slow this down. The longer it took for them to take this point, the better for us. At this point, I probably should have done something with the Hellstriders, but I guess I was busy looking over on this side of the map. That's my poor micro. And essentially, we're just trying to hold this point for the next 20 seconds. So we might as well get some cool close-ups and just watching Belakor absolutely delete some Slayers. We put Belakor's melee attack reduction ability on them, so we're really not scared of them right now. As soon as that ends, it might be a different story, but this game is pretty much in the bag. There's no way for them to get stuff on that point because of all the screens we brought in, and that is GG's. I don't think it was a bad build by them. Honestly, I think they probably could have taken this one, the dwarves, if they had played a little bit more. What's the word? I don't want to say aggressively, but at least like consolidated their forces a little bit better. I think just like spamming out units on every flank really kind of hurt them, because I think the dwarves really need to make a consolidated push with a large number of units. So Ungrim, not even having his worth, these slayers actually, just regular slayers, got more value than the dragonbacks got. Kind of funny. Really impressed with the Bugmans, actually. These guys, I don't know if they got their value back, but they did some work. Over on my side, the Hell Cannon, just absolutely beautiful. The leadership penalty that it provides, I think it provides a leadership penalty. Don't quote me on that. Really, really strong. Belakor almost making his value back, and hitting him where it hurts, honestly. Killing their lord and just... I think he probably doubled his value in terms of just leadership and just general kind of tomfoolery around how the enemy had to plan their approach. This is my first time playing Belakor. I do think it's pretty strong. I do think he's quite a strong character. Quite expensive, so I think if your opponent brings lots of ways to deal with him, then you're fucked. But otherwise, very fun, very enjoyable time. Yeah, Chaos Warriors, one of them almost paying for themselves. These guys paid for themselves as well. And actually these guys more than paid for themselves by 8 gold. And then these guys, they were still in the brunt of combat, so they still had a while to accrue some value. And then Hellstriders just being Hellstriders. It's just so stupid. These guys should probably be like 750 gold a pop, but that is just me. And the entire community. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let's see where we are in the road to top 100, actually. So that's while we're here. Yeah, 386 now. Okay, rating is slowly rising. We were, I think last week, we were like 450, so we're making our way up there. I think right now, out of my last 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 games, I'm 10-1. So... not that that really means much, although my one loss was to Alfredinho, so thanks, my guy. Appreciate you obliterating me with your Skaven. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. Yeah, like and subscribe if you liked what you see, and I'll be sure to make more videos in the coming days. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.